Understanding startup and organizational costs. So let's break this down. Startup costs. These are expenses incurred before you open your daycare. Examples include market research, trainings, travel related to starting your businesses, advertising for the opening, and salaries for employees being trained. Now, organizational costs. These costs are related to forming your daycare business entity that might include legal fees for creating a business entity, accounting fees to set up your bookkeeping system, and filing fees. Now, how deductions work. So, immediate deductions are when you start your daycare, the IRS allows you to deduct up to $5,000 of startup costs and $5,000 of organizational costs in the year your business begins. This is a nice initial deduction to lower your taxable income right off the bat. The threshold limitation. The $5,000 immediate deduction begins to phase out after dollar for any amounts over $50,000. This means if your total startup of an organizational cost exceeds $50,000, the amount you can deduct immediately is reduced. If you incur $51,000, for example, you can only deduct $4,000 because the deduction is reduced by that one extra $1,000 that exceeded that $50,000 threshold. You with me? So, amortization. The costs that are not deducted immediately must be capitalized and amortized, meaning spread out over 180 months, 15 years. This starts from the month your daycare business begins. For instance, if you have $47,000 left after taking the immediate $4,000 deduction from your earlier example, you would spread this $47,000 over 180 months for a steady deduction over 15 years. A typical example, imagine you're opening a little Explorer daycare in January. Before opening, you spend $48,000 on the startup costs, training staff, advertising, and so on, and $5,000 on organizational costs, legal fees, filing fees, etc. Here's how your deduction would work. Year one deduction. You can immediately deduct $5,000 for startup costs and $5,000 for organizational costs, as long as the total costs do not exceed $50,000 for either category. Since your startup costs are below this threshold, you can take the full immediate deduction. It's also important to keep good records of all your expenses and consult with a tax professional to ensure you're taking a full advantage of your eligible deductions. This breakdown should give you a good standing point for understanding how you can deduct startup and organizational costs for your daycare. I'm Nakia, your childcare tax pro, and I'll talk to you on the next one.